Imagine being 59 and being a brand new boot in the Army. Let's go.
Nobody ever goes through basic training and thinks to themselves, oh, I want to repeat that.
Off the ground.
He looks like he'd be the battalion commander or something, or the sergeant major of the Army. God bless this guy, 59 and just finished Army boot camp. I thought you could be 59, maybe a doctor or some specially skilled person. Now, I do think if you can pass the physical and do the job, I could care less how old you are.
I figured my Marine Corps boot camp that I went through in 1978 was sufficient. I was unaware that I was going to have to go back to basic training. Picture yourself, a 59-year-old man, being thrust into a situation by which you have to be with 17 to 19-year-olds for 3 months. Words are pretty cheap. You don't sit around and talk about what you can do. You show people what you can do.
You just don't recover. I'm not 59, and I don't recover like I did when I was 17 at Parris Island. So I have a lot of respect for this man doing it at 59. I knew some older guys that went through Marine Corps boot camp, because typically if you're in the Marine Corps, you don't have to go to another boot camp. Some Army guys, and I want to say a Navy guy they were going through, and they were older. They were like 25, and they were telling me it was tough on them. By no means 59.
In 1978, I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps for 3 years. Got out and got into law enforcement. And then Desert Storm broke out and I went back into the military, hoping to get into combat operations. I've been deployed to Afghanistan, Kuwait, Asia. I was in the infantry.
I remember during Desert Storm, they recalled some guys. I remember sitting in the chow hall, clear as day, Camp Lejeune, seeing these old guys come in, like needed a haircut, old-ass woodland camis, and thinking, what the hell are these old corporals doing here? Don't remember everything or why, just remember looking at them and hearing that was the point. And old as in, they may have been in like their 30s, right?
And I joined the National Guard up to about 2009, and then I exited service. Today, I wanted to go back for 4 different reasons. One was because my son is in the Army Reserve near my home. The ability to serve with my son, which very few people get an opportunity to do. That was a biggie. Then the next one was I have about 2 more years to do to get my retirement from the United States Army. Number 3, I felt like I wanted to serve my nation. I had much more to give. And number 4, and most importantly, I felt like I was physically fit enough, good enough health, to do anything that anybody else could do out there and serve my nation in a productive way.
And that's the key point, right? He can do the job. Just like females in combat roles, transsexuals. I don't want to go down that path, but if someone can do the work and they don't bring a bunch of extra static to the troops, God bless them.
So that was the decision-making process for me, so here I am. And I spoke to my wife about it.
I busted out laughing. It was funny.
Both of the kids laughed.
Yeah, but not in a mean type of way. But you know what? I think you don't have to give up when you get older. You keep going.
So I figured, why not? I think I'm extremely driven. I'm not going to take no for an answer, and I'm not going to quit. I'm going to exhaust every possible avenue to achieve the desired end goal.
That's a great takeaway. He's going to try everything to achieve his goal, which is to go to Army boot camp and become enlisted active duty at 59. If everyone thought, okay, I want to end up here, let me reverse engineer it to get there and spend some time with it, I think we all be better off.
Areas of conflict getting back in. I had to submit packages and hundreds of pieces of paper. After 14 months of going through this process,
wow,
they said, okay, you can come to the recruitment station. We'll put you back through the physical one final time. That was physical number 4, by the way. During the process of signing the contract and going through the paperwork, they told me, oh, and by the way, there's been a regulation change. You have to go back to basic training. I stopped and looked at them and said, What are you talking about? That's ridiculous. I didn't have to go back through basic training the last time. Why would I have to go back through basic training now? They said, well, the regulations changed, so I guess that's it, huh? You're not gonna...
Now, a question for you guys. If you're going back in and they said, hey, by the way, buddy, you got to go back to boot camp, basic training, day one. You may come out of boot camp and this guy looks like he's a staff sergeant, but you got to go to boot camp. I don't know that regulation makes any sense. I'm not sure what the parameters are. If you got a guy that's been in the Guard, he went to boot camp, he's capable, he's physically fit, going to boot camp at Fort Benning again probably doesn't make the most sense.
Do the contract, and I thought to myself, I'm 59 years old. I just really do not want to do this. But this is just another obstacle that's been laid before my feet to stop me from doing this, and I'm just going to do it.
Good work.
You get off the bus, and there's drill sergeants waiting for you, and then that's where the fun and games begins at that point.
Hurry up, hurry, go, go, go!
The drill sergeants, when they saw me, were stunned. It became comical to me because I knew when a new drill sergeant would see me, they would instantly stop. There was like a moment of hesitation, and they would kind of...
They thought there was a mole in their midst, right? Like they sent some guy in who was a sergeant major to see what they were doing. That had to be shocking. He could have been their father, no doubt.
Look at me and then at some point walk up to me and ask me, how old are you? I've never seen anything like this. This is bizarre. Going through the training with the younger people, there was a burden on me as well to perform the best I could, to be an example to everyone there. People were really curious about why I was there and would tell me openly that it was really motivational and inspiring to have me there with them. If this 59-year-old old guy can do this, I can certainly do this. I'm not getting any breaks.
It would be an adjustment. When I saw this video come up, I thought, how would it be if I went 30 years later to boot camp? Things have changed. Culture has changed. You're training with women. The language has changed. I'm sure the physical side would be the same. I would pull my stress card if I was in the Army, right? And I'd say I don't want the shark attack. But I think, you know, the physical side would be about the same. I think the culture shock would be unbelievable.
The same thing day in, day out. When they got punished, I was right there doing push-ups with them. Through the training, I won the confidence of the drill sergeants because I was able to do all the physical exercises, to do all the written tests, to do all the practical application tests without any problem whatsoever. I graduated in the top 10% of my class.
You know what those drill sergeants were thinking? They were going, okay, who does this guy know to pull the strings to get into this at 59? That's what I'd be thinking. Like, we cannot do anything. So this guy may have a general that's his brother that got him in somehow. That would be nerve-wracking.
Overall, but I was pretty glad to get out of there at that point.
Yeah, no shit.
The single hardest thing to overcome in that environment is the age deviation and the way people think. The norms, the culture, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. I was facing the adaptation.
All right, can you imagine this? You're like, hey, Gramps, let's go out in town. Let me see if I can get a senior discount with you. Like the military discount plus the senior on top.
To that. Other than that, the United States Army did an excellent job of organizing the training, administrating the training, the equipment, everything else leading up to that was stellar. It was much better than when I went through boot camp in 1978. It was excellent. It felt fantastic to wear the uniform again and represent my nation and be part of the team. It's great to be back in the organization with my brothers and sisters in uniform, serving our nation, and just being into something bigger.
Now, for you guys that have been in, if you had to go back 20 years later, what would be your biggest hurdle? For you guys that are young, what would you think of a 59-year-old in your platoon?